Alright, so we are on our last target, the first day of it at least, and we are going to be using and interpreting units when solving real-world problems. Fun stuff. Alright, so let's start off with your learning goals. By the end of this, I can convert between real-world units of measure, give my answers as a combination of units. For example, if you're asked to give something in hours and minutes, you give it in hours and minutes. Alright, and then your steps for solving this are pretty much going to be the same. Some of it may depend on what they're asking you. The first thing to do is you're going to determine the ratio of your smaller units to the larger units. So you want to write it as a ratio or as a fraction. So here we have 1 hour over 60 minutes, meaning 60 minutes and 1 hour are the same. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Then you'd set up a proportion. So going back to this previous example, we'd have 1 hour, 60 minutes, and then depending on what information they gave us, if they gave us minutes, that number would go down here. If they gave us hours, that would go up here. And then the other one would just be the variable. And then you solve for the variable. So you might be used to calling this like cross multiplying and dividing. Yes, that's essentially what you're doing. But as long as you understand it, that's the important thing. And then finally, the number you get are going to be in the units that you weren't originally given. So sometimes the remainder you're going to have to put back into the original units, just the remainder. And that's only if you're asked for a combination of units for your answer. So, such as in this example. So we have a movie that is 147 total minutes long, and we want to know how long the movie is, and that's in hours and minutes. And notice it says remaining minutes, so that should tip you off right there. So we start off by determining our ratio, 1 hour, 60 minutes. And then we set up the proportion. So we have our 1 hour and 60 minutes. So see how this just kind of, we use the same thing here. And then what did they give us? They told us that the movie was in 147 total minutes. So that means that this and this should both be the minutes. And this is total minutes, which we have. All right, and notice we don't know how many hours. That's what we have to determine. So we solve for the variable. We have 60x equals 147, and then we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 60. Now when you do that, so we take 147, divide it by 60, and then you're going to get 2, because 60 goes in 147 twice. This is if you're doing it using long division. And you have this remainder of 27, because 60 doesn't go into that. So you have 2 hours with a remainder of 27 minutes. So your final answer is 2 hours and 27 minutes. Second example. We have a baker that's making bread dough. He uses 5 cups of flour for every 6 ounces of water. So we've got 5 and 6. And how many cups of flour will he use if he uses 72 ounces of water? So here we have our ratio, which they give us. 5 cups of flour, 6 ounces of water. So this is flour, and this is water. Okay? Now we're going to set up that proportion. Now what did they give us? 72 ounces of water, which means that 72 is going to have to go on the bottom spot. See how the ounces in the water are in the same spot? Because they're asking us about the flour, which is that right there. So we're going to go ahead and set it up, cross multiply, so 6 times x. So someone in class had mentioned to me that they called this a butterfly. So like if you had 5 over 6 equals x over 72, you know, you're making butterfly. Whatever it is that helps you remember that. 6 times x is 6x. 5 times 72 is 360. And then, as usual, go ahead and divide both sides by 6, because that'll cancel the 6's out on that side. And then you just have 360 divided by 6, which is 60. So you would need 60 cups of flour. And that's your answer. All right, last example. That should say example 3, not 2. We're going to go ahead and fix that. So 3. The scale of a map is 1 centimeters to 30 miles. Determine the distance between two cities that are 5.2 centimeters apart on the map. So start off with your ratio, 1 centimeter equals 30 miles. Then set up your proportion. Now, they gave us 5.2 centimeters, so that's got to match where the centimeters is. Because remember, this is centimeters, so it's got to match the spot on this side. And then this is our variable, the x miles, because that's what they're asking us. So it's just a matter of 1 times x, which is just x, and 5.2 times 30, and then you're going to go. So really, since there's a 1 in front of here, we're only dividing by 1. All we have to do is this step here, which gives us 156 miles. So, and this is a good one because it's like, does your answer make sense? If 1 centimeter is 30 miles, you know, you can kind of estimate to see if your answer is in the right ballpark. You can drop this for a second and just say, okay, the 5. 5 times 30, that's a pretty easy number to do really quick, is 150. So is that around 150 miles? Yes, it is. And then you just got to make sure that you include that in there because we want to make sure that we're getting an exact answer, not a rounded answer. All right, so if any of these problems gave you issues, please go back, rewatch the videos, and ask me for help, either during class, before class, you know, stay after for a second and find out when would be a good time to stop in. All right, have a good one.